Welcome to the Fit Dads podcast. Today, myself and Ryan sat down with Bronte Jones. Bronte is a Gladiators finalist from last year. She's a firefighter and she's just got into the world of online coaching. Ryan, she's unbelievable in terms of what she's managed to achieve at the ripe old age of 25. Very established in the world of athletics, Olympic weightlifting. And yeah, she's got very lofty ambitions. What did you take away from this episode, mate?
I took away the fact that she's just so up for giving anything a go, and she's done that her whole life, going right back to when she was 13, entering into shot put competitions, down to just on a whim going, you know what, I fancy Gladiators, liked it as a kid, let's give it a go. And she's always looking for new things. She seems very ambitious in not only in obviously her work and now getting into the online coaching side of things, wanting to help people, but also just in her ambitions to be better herself and perform at the highest level she can do. So that's definitely what I took from it.
She's basically achieved all my childhood ambitions of being a firefighter and being on Gladiators.
Any chance?
Any chance? Come on. Which, yeah, I'll be honest, mate. She's a good girl. I've known her for a long time on a personal level, and she's got that attitude about her. And I just think there's a lot for parents to take away from this in terms of how to promote their kids to maybe try new sports, maybe try new things, and go into it with confidence and ambition, and also for kids as well. She talks about the positives of being a firefighter. She talks about the drawbacks about being a firefighter, and I just thought that was a very, very inspiring thing that she spoke about. You know,
and to hear the whole even the recruitment process, which we know a little bit about, that's quite interesting. If you've got any ambitions of being a firefighter, want to go down that route, she gives you some great insights there. And yeah, she's just. We said before, you can kind of tell, I think she's been around the firefighter scene as well, because she's just got that kind of darker sense of humour, just up for a good time. She seems like she was telling a few funny stories beforehand. Yeah. One about her squatting in heels or something, and she broke her ankle and smashed her teeth.
Yeah, as you do. So you can see she's got that.
She's around, blokes, and she's around guys who are just up for having a good time, and massively obviously into fitness as well. That's pretty pushed inside the fire service.
100%. And I were determined to ask about PBs from Olympic lifting side of things, and a Gladiator name. If she were other side of the coin, what would her name be? Because
I think that'll shock people, but also interesting as well. I'm gutted that she didn't get the Gladiator role, because I feel like she was almost made for that with the name she had and everything like that. But
this time
season 2 is coming up.
Yeah. So before we get into it, if you are enjoying the podcast, if you enjoy this episode, please like, share, subscribe, leave us a rating and review. It'd really, really help the channel grow. And again, give Bronte the attention she deserves.
100%. We didn't actually ask her what her social medias were.
No, we didn't. I will make sure I will send that over to you, Ryan.
Yeah, we'll tag it in, and we'll get it in the description and stuff. But yeah, guys, enjoy. This is Bronte, and she's got a great story.
Bronte Jones, thank you very much for joining us, mate.
Thank you very much for having me.
Appreciate you taking the time out to talk about all things fitness, all things your experience with getting into coaching, number one. Obviously, your experience on Gladiators, you're a firefighter, which is very exciting, but it makes sense to start at the beginning. So tell us a little bit about you. What can as listeners and as viewers expect from you today?
So a bit about me. Growing up, I was always quite sporty. Got into, I tried every sport growing up. Kind of focused more on athletics when I was younger. I then went into Olympic lifting, still competing that now. I'm a firefighter and recently just started my own online coaching business. So that's a bit about me.
Very exciting. Very exciting. You mentioned athletics came first.
Yeah.
It's a big love of mine. I used to work at the IS and got a lot of exposure to athletics, and I know what incredible discipline it takes. How did you find that? Did you specialise in anything?
Yeah, so I specialise in the throwing side of it, particularly discus and shot put, which were kind of a weird one how I got into it really, because it was my sister who was kind of more into it than me at the start. I'm a twin, by the way, so we're both the same age.
Oh, we're twin?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Is she as sporty as you, or are you kind of chalk and cheese?
Yeah, no, she is. I think she's actually more sporty than me, probably growing up.
Okay.
But then I kind of took it a bit more to another level, and she just kind of was happy training, and she did the more sprinting side of it, which is a lot harder to be more successful at, really. But yeah, I kind of got into throwing because I was watching her compete one day, just in this little open down in Wakefield, and she was competing. I was just a bit bored, sat watching my family, with my family, watching my sister. And my dad was like, why don't you just like enter shot put or something? And because I'd done it that week in school, and I thought, yeah, why not? So I just entered this competition. It was only an open, it was nothing big. But did it, ended up winning it. My parents and family were there. They were talking to people like in the crowd. And one of them was like, oh, who's a coach? Like, who does she train with? And my dad was like, oh, she doesn't. She just like turned up, just thought she'd have a go at it type thing. Wow. And so he was like, well, you ought to think about getting her a coach, you know. So I did, and it kind of went from there, really.
Amazing. How old were you at that point?
I think at that point I was probably about 13 maybe. Quite young.
Yeah. But at the same time, like you hear athletics and people almost specialising a little bit earlier, especially in other sports. You see like football, kids wanting to specialise at like 6 or 7. Yeah. So if you just to rock up to a competition and win it is, you know, it's no laughing matter, is it?
I mean, I was laughing at the time, but
yeah. All the competitors weren't laughing like that. She just rocking up this girl. No coach, just turning up, winning a competition.
Fair. Did you attempt any other disciplines after that? I know you said throw in. We have attempts by the running side.
Yeah, I mean, before that, I did used to do athletics, just sort of, you know, just on an evening as a kind of activity to do. I was always lucky growing up that my mum and dad let me try loads of different sports. But I kind of, from that competition, decided to focus more on the throwing side of it, mainly because my sister was like the better sprinter out of us both and the better runner. So I kind of thought, well, I'll try something a bit different. And I was always like the stronger one out of the two of us. So that's when I really started to focus more on the throwing. But I did touch on other bits as well. But yeah, kind of mainly focused more on throwing.
Amazing. How far did you go with the throwing side of the athletics?
Yeah, I did all right. I competed for England a couple of times, so that was good. That was in discus. But I mean, I think still to this day, or last time I checked, I hold some at Northern Records and Yorkshire Records, so that's quite nice.
Go on.
As a junior.
Yeah.
But that's why I kind of went more into the weightlifting, was because as I started to get older and move up into seniors, it kind of got a bit unfair because there's no like weight categories or anything like that in throwing, and I was like competing against people who were, you know, 6 foot, like massive, proper stocky women, and I just couldn't keep up with them because they were so much more bigger than me. Because I'm only 5'6", so I'm just kind of average, really. But a few of my friends, they were doing weightlifting, and I sort of saw their numbers and I saw how it was in weight categories. So I thought this might be something I might be a bit better at. And I always loved competing, and I loved training in the gym because I did a lot of training with throwing. So I just thought, I love competing, I love weightlifting, why don't I just start competing in weightlifting? So yeah, that kind of brought me on to the next part.
I feel like I love the blasé-ness of all this, like, and I think a lot can be probably absorbed from kids and parents who just, I think a lot of kids and parents can overthink a lot of things, whereas I just really like that thought of you just saying, yeah, I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
Just see what happens. Do you think a lot of kids and parents would benefit from that?
Yeah, definitely. I think I've always had the mindset of, I just want to try anything that's new, you know. If there's something I haven't tried, I'd want to have a go at it. Just because I'm not really that bothered about, if I don't do well at it, I don't do well at it. I can just sort of move on to the next thing. But yeah, I think from like a parent-kid type of view, definitely just let them have a go, and you never know what the potential is going to be.
Can you see Harlow getting into any sort of sport like that? Any
Project Olympics has already started, mate. Don't worry about that.
Project Jess Ennis Hill, aren't
I love it. You know my thoughts, and I'd love my little girl to be into, like, you know, sports, like weightlifting, all that stuff. We've already started like getting her in the gym and doing some kettlebell work, things like that, and she doesn't really know what it is. She just thinks it's fun, and yeah, at this age you have to keep it really fun. But I think, come back to what Brad said, that's, I think, what your whole ethos by the sound of things has been like. Just give it a go, keep it fun. It's nothing serious. Just if you do well, you do well. If you don't, move on to the next thing, see what happens. And I think there's a certain level of seriousness when you get to like certain levels of sport. And I think for you to be like, you know what, I've maxed out the kind of discus or shot put, let's go and try something different. Like, that takes a lot of courage and balls to kind of be dedicated to one thing for so long and then be like, actually, I'm going to try something else. I think that's a real I like that kind of ethos around your just drive and, like I said, blaseness, really.
But you're not flaky with it either. Like you said, you sort of assessed it and thought, maybe it's getting a bit unfair now. Maybe my efforts are best put somewhere else. Like, when did the Olympic lifting side start taking off?
So that started taking off really when I sort of got to about 18ish. I was still competing in athletics and stuff up to being a firefighter, but at that point when I started my recruit course and things, I kind of took a step back from it a bit. Always kept myself fit still, still weightlifting in the gym all the time and things like that. But then that's when I started looking more into weightlifting. I got a weightlifting coach, was doing more bits on it. I didn't compete for a while, and then COVID hit. So in fact, I did one competition before COVID. I think I was about 18 at the time. But at that point, I didn't understand like any of the rules or any. Do you know, like in a weightlifting competition, there's like you can't just clean and jerk. Get a bar above your head. You've got to like lock your elbows out, and I didn't understand any of that when I did it.
Did you pick it up easy? Like, I mean, Olympic weightlifting is so technical, isn't it? Like, how were you at like making that transition from shot put into learning something completely new? Like, I feel pretty comfortable doing like your standard powerlifting stuff, but Olympic lifting for me is very, very technical and it's difficult to kind of even coach. So
it is technical, and I think it kind of benefited me and then didn't at the same time, because with my athletics training, I did a lot of like power cleans, power snatches, squats. I did all the tough sort of power side of it, so I had an idea of it before I started doing it. But then I also found it more difficult then to then go from doing power cleans to doing full cleans, it took a while to be able to like build that confidence up to drop under the bar rather than power it up every time. But I sort of did have that understanding and knowledge on it for a while beforehand.
That makes sense. Yeah, cool.
You mentioned there like confidence, understanding and knowledge. I think that combination of, especially as a kid trying it, like a young kid, I know a couple of my clients, they've got kids now in Olympic lifting from quite a young age, and it's amazing to watch. Like, do you think there's a certain age that someone can potentially be introduced to it, or?
Honestly, I don't think that there's like a certain age to introduce them to it. I think that when you're younger, you definitely shouldn't sort of take it seriously or get pushed by anyone, because at that point you just want to have fun, you want to enjoy it, you want to be doing it because you want to do it. In terms of like lifting heavy, you see some crazy kids nowadays who are like lifting, like I've seen a girl, she's about 14. Oh no, she's younger than that. She's about 12, like clean and jerking 100 kilo or something ridiculous.
Jesus Christ.
Which like obviously goes against everything we get taught as coaches, doesn't it, in terms of lifting heavy.
Yeah.
But I think so long as you're enjoying it, then I don't see no downside to it really.
It's moved on a lot since we were kids though. And when I first started getting to the gym when I was like 12 years old, my parents, everyone around me was like, "You're gonna like stunt your growth. You're gonna like stop, certain things developing." And I was like, "I like it though. I didn't feel like I was pushing it to the extreme, and I never did really. But there was so much backlash, and I think nowadays all the kind of science and the research, we know that it's not as detrimental. In fact, if anything, it actually pushes things on, develops kids, coordination, balance, even the growth plates get a little bit of a kick when you put resistance under there. So." I think it's nice to see that kind of being filtered down for sure.
Yeah.
And how many times do we get that question from parents, like, when can my kid start doing this? And I think it's ever evolving, isn't it? Which
it's now, I think, whenever you feel ready, but also under the right supervision. That's the main thing for me.
I'm going to make a confession to Bronte now, because when you were training for that first lifting competition, I think I just started working at Firehouse, and it was in the really little unit they used to have. And I remember seeing you must have snatched something just insane. And I remember just glancing across and like, there's this little blonde teenager literally snatching more weight than I could even comprehend. I thought, I might give that a go actually. And I literally, from probably watching you do it and seeing how technically amazing it was, I thought maybe I will make me get trained up in like S&C and let me try it.
Really?
And, yeah, seriously. And it probably come from that experience of watching you and feeling grossly inadequate. But no, it was really, really impressive. And,
thank you.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
No, literally. Honestly, I remember seeing it and thinking, that is super inspiring.
How old was Bronte at the time?
Again, you must have been like 18, I reckon, 17, 18.
Wow.
Yeah. Which super impressive. Which obviously that's when I first crossed.
Yeah.
I remember you first getting, becoming a firefighter. From just curiosity on my side, what does that recruitment process look like? How did the application go?
So the recruitment process, obviously, there's only on the recruit course nowadays, there's about 12 to 18 spots. For them jobs, it's a massive process because there's about, when I joined, I think there's more now, there are about 3,000 or 4,000 people applied for the jobs.
Wow.
So to like wean out a lot of that, it's pretty much luck, I'd probably say at the start, really. But there's like online tests, so there's like a bit of maths, bit of English, bit of like mechanical sort of engineering questions. And then there's like fitness tests, so there's a bleep test, there's tests like to see if you're scared of heights, climbing a ladder, how you are in confined spaces, just different bits and bobs like that, really. But if you are successful, you get onto the recruit course, then that's a 3-month recruit course where you just proper get hammered pretty much every day by your instructors. And then you've got a 2-year probationary period then on station. So you're treated like a normal firefighter, sort of expected to do everything as a firefighter, if not more. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
So I think for any kids listening, parents of kids who maybe, I don't know, it's a dream job. I always wanted to do it as a kid. And when you apply a couple of times and you go, oh, actually, this is a very low chance of success actually getting through here. So yeah, I think you've just said it in abundance there. Make sure you do your maths, make sure you do your English, stay in school and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
What do you enjoy the most about being a firefighter?
I think, without this sounding too cliche, I think what I enjoy the most really is that I go to work every day and you never know what you're going to be faced with. Like, every day is different, and at any point we could just get called to anything. Like, we've got such a broad sort of range of skills that we have to know. We have to know building construction, trauma care, fire behaviour, stuff about cars, mechanics and like safety, like anatomy and physiology. There's such a broad range of skills that we have to know, and I just love that I'm always learning stuff. You'd be pretty naive as a firefighter to sort of say I know it all, because there's so much that you've got to learn and understand. And like you say, things are changing all the time. Like now with electric vehicles becoming more popular, that becomes more of a hazard to us, and there's always stuff changing and new methods, and it's just great that every day I'm sort of learning something and just never knowing what I'm going to be doing that day. So that's kind of what I love the most about it, really.
Amazing.
And obviously helping people. Most of the time when we turn up places, it's people on the worst day of their lives, really. So if I can make that a little bit better in some way, then
yeah. That's really nice. Yeah, got into it for the right reasons. But I coached someone recently to get into the fire service, and yeah, I know how much luck is involved, because we prepped for like a year, literally a whole year, and then on the day, he's got a few different ideas around why he didn't get in. He thinks one of the kind of guys who was taking the course didn't really like him and took a bit of a dislike. Right. But something like that, I think it's as easy as that, isn't it? Someone just, you do all that prep, all that work, and then, someone just says, actually, you're not right for it. But he was fit as a fiddle, this lad. Yeah. It just does, it does highlight how much luck is involved in.
It is.
Because there's so many, when you've got thousands of people for like 12 spots, you got to be really on the ball, aren't you?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because especially when you're doing an interview, now can you sort of tell who's going to be a better practical firefighter by an interview? You can't really, can you? So it is hard to get into, but just you got to keep trying, haven't you? Keep going for it.
That's it. I mean, he said there was guys there who'd been like 4 or 5 times in a row every year, just trying to get back in, and they get a little bit further each time. And are they looking for certain, are they looking for certain builds? Are they looking for I guess there's people with a bit of nous about them. I guess you can kind of tell that if you've coached people, or you've dealt with enough interview processes, you can kind of see who's got the makeup of a good firefighter, who's got kind of, the eyes that switched on. I guess that's what we're looking for more than anything else.
I don't think it's so much like build or anything like that. I think in terms of the fitness side of it, if you pass the fitness test, and that's kind of like you're all on an even playing field, I think probably they do look for attitude a lot of the time, and like how you sort of, because when you're a recruit, you do get some hammer, and you do, in a good way, there's so much to teach and learn, and you've got to be able to pick that up pretty quickly. But I do think a lot of it is just sort of, well, it's difficult, isn't it? It's just like a bit of of look really, and everything's on the website. So if you look on the website, there's like tips on how to like, you know, just do a bit of research into sort of like the community side of it, prevention side, which stands you in good stead for your interview.
There's a lot of YouTube videos as well. We found like South Yorkshire have a lot on YouTube about. There's one guy that kept popping up, and I felt like I knew him by then. I've watched so many of his videos, but it was really helpful. It tells you obviously like what to expect. You do, you know, the practical test is because you do the bleep test first, isn't it? And you do like your maths and your mechanical stuff, like you said. And I was surprised how much maths is involved, like, you know, working out angles and ratios and things like that. I didn't do that, by the way. That was that was not coaching that too. And then with the practical side of things, and it takes you through the full day where you do like your back and forth across the kind of car park with your hoses and stuff like that. And then you've got the main day, haven't you, where you do like you do like that thing where they put you in like a storage container, and you have to go through, and it's all dark, and you got a mask on. That's the day where he kept failing. He's failed that twice now, unfortunately. But
what did he fail it on then?
I don't know. I think it was attitude. I think he had like I think he left his water bottle by one of the stations, and then when he went back to get it, the guy was like, "You'll get it when I say you can get it," kind of thing. And it seemed like a little bit, he didn't like that. And then it was straight away butting heads. And I just thought, fair play. But he's a nice lad. He really is. I just think he's got his heart set on it. I think when there's so much pressure in someone's mind about getting into something, it boils over sometimes into like anxiety and
bit of frustration.
Yeah, frustration. Yeah.
And Ryan's mentioned a little bit about like the dark side, if you like. What would you say is the hardest part about being a firefighter?
Oh, that's a difficult question. I think, obviously, sometimes the jobs we go to and deal with, they can be a bit upsetting. You know, we're dealing with fatalities and some not nice situations. So I think that side of it can be difficult sometimes, and it can hit home a bit. But it's good how we always sort of, a lot of what our job is teamwork, and we're all sort of pitched together on that and just help each other out with it. So yeah, I think that's probably one of the difficult sides to it. I'm trying to think what else is hard about it.
What's the toughest thing you've been called out to? What's the thing that like maybe emotionally has been quite, you stuck with you a little bit, you've maybe gone home and thought about it? Is there anything that's been like traumatic for you?
I think I'm probably quite good at sort of
decompartmentalising.
Yeah, do you know, just like I don't really like tap into the emotional side as much really. I kind of just see it as, you know, if we've got a fatality, I don't know the person, I don't know who they are, and I kind of try not to really read into that too much. I just sort of see it as a job, if you know what I mean. But I've pulled a few people out of buildings before, and that's been quite difficult because usually, you know, 10 breaths of smoke and you're unconscious, and at that point it's hard to then get people back from being unconscious because the brain's been starved of oxygen for so long. RTCs again also can be quite bad sometimes, especially if there's kids involved. They're really not nice. But yeah, I think in terms of, I've been lucky enough that so far in the 6 years I've not really had to deal with many like kids in incidents. I think they're the ones that do get to you a bit more with obviously how innocent they are.
It's really important to touch on this, because for kids watching and listening who maybe want to be firefighters one day, there's a tough side to it. You know, if you're trying to save people, you're not going to save everyone. You're going to be called out to some tough situations, and that is reality. But I think it's great that you can compartmentalise it, and you've got that support in case you need it. I think that's a great teamwork aspect. And do you find working in a team, is that quite enjoyable for you?
It is. I absolutely love that. That again is one of the best sides of it, because we all sort of see each other as brothers and sisters, and we kind of just like look after each other a bit. If one of us is having a bad day, we'll sort of pick them up. The banter's great, you know. We're always
Seems
having
dark.
a laugh.
Seems very dark. It's a bit like squaddy humour, I've noticed.
It can be, but that's sort of like our coping mechanism of going and seeing stuff like that. It's kind of that dark humour then comes into play a bit, but it's just our way of sort of dealing with it, really.
Yeah, you do see that in the forces as well, don't you? Like a lot of like dark humour, but maybe it's just, you know, part of the way of processing it, I guess.
Like I said, it's like a coping mechanism, isn't it? If you see some heavy dark stuff, like that's your, like you said, they're your brothers and sisters to talk to and to communicate with. I imagine the safeguarding stuff is quite important as well, like being on hand and
Yeah, I mean, we do, because obviously sometimes when we're doing community work, you know, we'll see sort of safeguarding first and then have to safeguard people, but then there's the other side of it as well. And yeah, that side of it can be quite challenging at parts, especially recognising it, because we're obviously not experts in that. So sometimes it can be a bit sort of hard to navigate through, but we try our best.
No, it sounds like you're doing an amazing job, and the fact that it's shifted more towards prevention now rather than just putting out fires for 12 hours a day,
Yeah.
it speaks volumes. Which you mentioned about the team there. How would the team maybe describe Bronte Jones?
Probably very giddy.
Very giddy.
Sometimes I can be a bit annoying.
Just, I can imagine at 4 a.m. and you're like, come on guys, let's go. Let's get
I'm
after
always
it.
first one down.
Yeah.
But I think probably just I'm quite encouraging, quite enthusiastic. I've been in 6 years now, which isn't really a long time, but kind of is a decent amount of time now, because there's
Obviously,
quite a
you
lot.
got a 19.
18.
18 you got in?
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
young.
very young,
Yeah.
proper baby back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they sort of like see me as a bit like, I've got a couple of years behind me now, so I sort of got a bit of knowledge. I always try to learn as much as I can, so I think they probably just see me as a bit crazy, really.
Yeah. Speaking of a bit crazy, I think anyone who applies to do what you did, probably, you know, you hit the mainstream last year during your time in Gladiators. How I'm really curious as to know how that process is. Like, did you just apply on a whim and say, yeah, I'll give it a try?
I kind of did and I kind of didn't. Like, I remember as a kid I used to watch Gladiators at home, and we used to love it. We must have been on the repeats because, you know, we were like filmed in 90s or something, weren't
Yeah,
it?
it was, yeah.
But I remember like Jet were always my favourite back then, and me and my sister used to like do Hang Tough and, you know, just like make up some at games and stuff. So I remember watching it and loved it, and when I saw that it were coming back, I was like, no way, like I need to jump on this, I need to be on this. So I originally applied to be a gladiator, and then I didn't hear nothing back for ages, and I kind of just kept going on about it all the time, like talking to everyone about it, because I just really wanted to be on it.
Manifesting.
Genuinely, I never thought about manifesting before, like has it been real thing, but I genuinely feel like I have manifested it a bit because of just how much I went on about it. And then I just kind of got to the point after a while where I thought I must not be hearing anything back from this, because it weren't long before the filming. Obviously they were filming it in Sheffield, so I was thinking this would be amazing if I could do it in my own city. And then I eventually got a phone call saying, oh, so we've already sorted all the gladiators out, but we'd really like you to come down and try out to be a contender. So I was like, amazing, this sounds amazing.
So you actually applied to be the other side.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I watched a few episodes. I think I must have missed yours, Bronte, but there was another girl I think who did the same thing where she applied to be a gladiator.
Yeah.
And when I watched it back, there was definitely a bit of bitterness in there. You know, when she was a contender, like she almost went out there with like a bit of a point to prove, like, okay, so you got chosen over me to be a gladiator. I'm gonna try. And there was a little bit of like, I was like, oh, I was getting a bit taste of this. But did you feel like that? Did you feel like you wanted to go out there and try and prove a point? And
I feel like I wanted to just prove a point. I don't think it was so much proving a point that I should have been a gladiator, but more just like, I just want to do my absolute best, and I'm a proper competitive person anyway. So, I obviously went out with the intention to win, just because that's just how I am, really. But I was just happy to be a part of it and actually get to do the games because it was so fun.
I bet, yeah. They look really
great.
fun. Everyone watches them and goes, I'd love to give that a go. So, yeah,
100%. I've always been curious to know, if you were other side of the coin and you was a gladiator, do you get given a name, or could you like, I've got a few suggestions, can I put that forward? I've got a few suggestions. Did you have any ideas of like what you wanted your name to be, or?
Well, not that I've thought about this.
Manifested it next year maybe.
But Bronte in Greek translates to thunder. So I thought that'd be pretty cool.
That is good.
To be called Thunder. Like AC/DC, Thunderstruck coming out too.
Yeah, right. You've not thought about this at all, have you?
Not all of that.
You're going to ring it up. Is it season 2? Because I've kind of got it all planned out.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Did you, I suppose, going into the series, what was the training like going into it? Because we can't say too much, but me and Ryan know someone who's on standby for this, and they were saying how like hectic the training is. It's so busy, it's so tiring, it's really intense. So how did you find the training?
Well, to be fair, we didn't actually do that much training. We had the tryout day, and then after that, they then got back in touch, like, you know, a few times to say, oh, I've been successful to be on the show. And then we had 2 days where they just showed us the games, showed us the rules. We didn't really have to have that much of a play about on it because they didn't really have the time. But then other than that, it was just straight into the live shows. So we only really had like two days of the training side before we went on to the live shows. So
you didn't even actually play the games themselves much?
Not really. Like the duel, it was like on the floor before it was on the podiums, and we just like had a go on that just so they showed us what the rules were and things. But yeah, we didn't really have much of a go. The only one that I were a bit disappointed about was Hang Tough, because I had to go on that and I loved it. And I think that was probably my best event, but I never had a go at doing it. So yeah.
Fair. Yeah, go on, mate.
What did you think of the final game? How did you did it live up to expectations? Because that's the one everyone sees at the end and goes, I'd love to give that a go.
Wait, which one's that?
The last one, the Travel
Oh, the Eliminator.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the best one,
Was
to be
it?
fair.
Yeah.
It
was like the longest, that goes on for like the longest amount of time. It's kind of just you, isn't it, really? Like, it's you and obviously the competitor. There's no gladiators, it's just getting your own zone and try and do it. It
was good because obviously like the pressure had been building all day, and then it was like down to the Eliminator, the last
Is it all on the same day, by the way?
Yeah.
Is it?
Okay. They are long days.
Yeah.
Especially the first few, because it was like the first series back, they sort of were just getting their heads around how it all works.
I bet.
So we were there from like 8 a.m. till like 10 o'clock at night, and it was just intense all day. Obviously,
was the audience there all day as well?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
And for them it probably weren't that great because they spent a lot of time like, moving all the stuff about to get all different rigs in and stuff. But for us backstage, it was like, do a like on camera beforehand, what your thoughts and feelings before, then do the game, then come back, what's your thoughts and feelings now, go back into hair and makeup, because like everyone were caked in makeup and like your suit were orange by the time you come back in. At one point I had like a full like face print of like Fire's face on my bum.
Also, you actually went back and got like changed and redid everything and came out like pristine again. Yeah, that's cool.
I still feel like if the injury wasn't there, because if anyone who doesn't know, Bronte did, was it the ACL you did?
It was my ATFL.
ATFL. Which, do you think you'd have won if minus the injury?
I mean, you can't say for sure, can you? But I think they were about a second in it in the end. Yeah. And, anything could have happened not at the time. But, I mean, I tore my ATFL, so I were in a pretty bad state, to be fair, to do it. So I'd like to think that without it, then it would have been a possibility. That was my slowest eliminator time that I did, so you never know. But I'm not bitter about it. I'm just glad about the experience, so
just life, innit? Just like sums up like injuries happen. They
does. And setbacks are a big part of life, aren't they? And teaches you a lot of lessons, so you've got to take the positives out of it, haven't you, really?
Of course.
Can you talk about your favourite gladiator? Who did you enjoy competing against? Whose like energy did you really like?
I think Fury was my favourite, just because she was absolutely nails.
Yeah.
But I probably didn't enjoy going up against the Mels because I always knew that she was going to be the hardest to sort of go against. But yeah, Fury was definitely like my favourite, to be fair.
Northern girl as well, isn't she?
Yeah.
So, yeah. She was gonna give it some. Have you been watching it, or did you watch it last year?
I watched a couple of episodes. Yeah. Is there a new season out now? Is there?
I think it's coming out.
Is it? Yeah, I think it's coming out.
Yeah, it's coming out. I'll be honest, I absolutely love Legend. Is I think Matt does fitness.
Matt does fitness. Madness
Fitness.
Right,
Oh, it was so good. Which
I think they get given like a character almost, don't they? So they've kind of got to live up to like the character. And Matt's character was like, a bit like obnoxious, like a bit loves himself a bit. But I like that he plays up to it and
played it well, didn't he?
Yeah. There's a certain sense of acting, I guess, with stuff like that as well. Like you've got to live up to the character. So
I can't help but feel like Sabre looked the most 90s as well. For some reason, like, I looked around and I'm like, why do you look like you're from the 90s in a really just like nice way? It looks amazing. So yeah, very nostalgic for us watching, and it was just amazing to sort of see you compete, give it your best, and obviously Sheffield got behind you as well.
That was amazing.
That quite surreal, like especially being on the TV as well. Like that'd blow my mind, knowing that you've got all these eyeballs on you.
Yeah, but that was something obviously I've never been used to anything like that before. So I'd be like in Asda, getting some shopping, and someone would be like tapping on the shoulder, like, "Are you Bronte from Gladiators?"
Yeah, wow.
And I was like, "Yeah." Like, it was just, that was so surreal. It kind of doesn't happen as much anymore. Sort of like if I am at work and like we turn up in a fire engine, I think people sort of expect me to be there a bit more. But yeah, it was just such a surreal experience. You know, I'll never do anything like that again. Probably not.
No.
But,
Which it seems like you got a good bit of like media as well, and you've done a lot for good causes as well. I've seen you doing some stuff for is it the Children's Hospital, Sheffield Children's.
Yeah, I've done stuff for Sheffield Children's, Western Park. Like, I just want to try and like, whilst I've got this time to, you know, I was in the spotlight a little bit. I'd like to just try and promote as much as possible in terms of for the right people and the right causes. For definite, and yeah, just help out any way I can,
brilliant.
really.
Love that.
Speaking of right people and right causes, I saw you advertising the new United kit as well, the new away one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Bronte's there in the new United kit. How did that come around?
That just come around because someone messaged me on social media and just said like, oh, it'd be great if you could come down and do this. And my dad's a massive Blades fan, so I was like, yeah, why not?
Oh wow! So you actually were the kind of, you know, model for the new kit.
The third kit.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous kit as well, isn't it?
It is. It's really nice.
It's really nice. You do it in the cathedral, was it?
Yeah,
as well?
it was because like the pattern on the kit is from the lantern in it in the cathedral, so that's why we did it there.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous kit.
Oh, nice.
It's really nice. But yeah, I'm just not shocked anymore. I'm like, yeah, Bronte's there. She's just, she's there. Why not? You mentioned your dad there as well. You spoke really highly of your mum and dad before you started this. How influential have they been in, I suppose, upbringing, like introducing you to sports, getting you into Olympic lifting, supporting you through Gladiators? What's that been like?
Massively supportive my whole life, to be fair. I'm very grateful that as a kid they did always allow me the opportunities to, you know, go out and try new things, and they always was like supportive and there for me. And then when I did sort of find what I did enjoy, they was always pushed me, not like they weren't pushy parents, but you know, in terms of just like pushing me to do a bit better and driving me, and you know, they'd always take me training, spend the time to like be there, watch me, come back. They'd always, no matter where I was in the country, take me, support me. They was brilliant with that growing up, to be fair. So it is probably a lot down to them how I've been so successful in what I've done, really, because they've always given me that opportunity to be able to go out there and do all these crazy ideas that I want to do. Yeah, they're great, both of them.
That's brilliant. You need that, don't you? Some parents in your corner who are just really like encouraging, like almost like forceful to a way. We're like, no, go and try it. Like even when you went and tried the shot put or discus, was it when you were 13? I'm sure you had some kind of doubts a little bit, and your dad was like, no, you know what, go and do it, get yourself out there, try it, and you know, that builds confidence in kids, doesn't it?
It does. Like, and I do always think that, like, you know, my dad took me to Mosborough Fire Station gym from being a like young kid, because obviously I was too young to go to a normal gym. So he took me there, and then that kind of, when I did get a bit older and was able to go to a gym, like go to Firehouse, it kind of took that sort of confidence issue away, really, because you know, most people, they go to a gym and they get a bit nervous thinking, oh, is people looking at me? Yeah. Like, what do people think? What am I going to do? And, you know, I sort of didn't have that then, because I sort of knew what I was doing and I could just go in, and I had that extra bit of confidence, really, to be able to just like get on with what I was training for. So I am lucky in that respect.
Yeah, I've said it for years. I think kids should have or gyms should have some kind of class for like under 12s or something like that, where you can go in and you can just learn like the real basics of how to lift a kettlebell and get in the environment. Because sometimes it's not even doing anything, it's just being in there and seeing the people and understanding, okay, that's where you do that stuff, that's where you do that stuff. And same thing, like my dad got a home gym when I was like 12. So I was like in that environment, getting comfy, understanding it, learning about my body and things like that. And I think that it helps. It really does. And if you've got your dad to show you what to do, like, even better. Do you know what I mean? And
your dad is like, you've downplayed it a little bit, but he's a bit of a legend. I mean, I really like your dad. He's so good. I know he said he recently retired, and yeah, he is. He's class, Mark. I really like him as a bloke, and he's probably leadership personified as well. Like, if ever you meet Mark Ryan, he's very, I know, he screams leadership. I don't know what it is. He's just got that aura about him. So that must have been amazing.
The firefighting stuff. Like if you're, you know, if he's been doing it for, is he still a firefighter? Or is he retired now?
He's retired. He retired as a watch manager. He's come back as like a bit of a driver for a bit. But he's like sort of retired.
If you've been doing that for like a long time, you know, you understand that in those situations, if you're one of the senior guys, you've got to adopt that role, haven't you? That leadership role. And you probably see it in some of the guys that, you know, are senior to you, where they just, you know, have to kind of steer the ship and get everyone G'd up and, you know, focused for the job ahead. And I can imagine how that goes into like everyday life. So then like your family's like your little team, and you know, when you go out somewhere, like, right, we're doing something, we've got a mission, let's go for it. And same with like military guys, they tend to be very militant in their timings and their scheduling, and they're always punctual. And I think that's so, you know, down to the way they were brought up, you know, through the military stuff.
Yeah, no, it is impressive. Which before we transition into your like next ventures, like professionally, and what's coming next for you, I'd love to sort of tap into maybe advice that you've got for maybe young boys and girls listening who, you know, dream job, I want to be a firefighter. What words of wisdom have you got for them? Granted that you're 6 years in now.
Yeah, honestly, I just think if that is your goal, then do anything possible to just make that easier as you get older. So that whether that's, you know, going to the gym, training hard, learning a bit more about it, starting fire cadets. A lot of stations now have cadets where you can just sort of put ladders up and do a bit of pumping, you know, sort of learn the basics to be a firefighter. And just keep doing well at school, keep on it, you know, all your goals, and yeah, who knows what can happen, but
maths as well. I definitely recommend maths.
Yeah, I mean, the beauty in our job really is that I probably shouldn't be saying this because it's probably not going to stand very great, but like we don't actually you don't need any qualifications, like you don't need any GCSEs or anything to get into the job. It's all like sort of in-house sort of what's the word for it,
like in-house training almost.
Yeah. So like all the tests are like in-house. So you don't actually need any qualifications. But
I like that though. I like the fact that, like, you know, if you are driven and you've got something you're good at, like you're physical and you've always been good at sport, but you've not been great at the books, there's a place you can go and work and earn a living and actually, you know, thrive almost.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think I like how it's very diverse as well. Like you start to see it more and more in the fire service now, like more women getting involved, different, you know, races, ethnicities, everything. And I think that comes down to it not necessarily being like a class academy, if that makes sense. Like there's no level of training you can go through to prepare you for it. It's just building that character and developing that, I suppose, your own morals and your own values. And like you said, attitude's gonna tell you apart from other people.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely like mainly on attitude, to be fair. That is what sets you apart, really. But I mean, it is just the best person for the job, whether the man, woman, whatever, you know, it's just whoever's the best.
Yeah, sure, 100%. Yeah.
Which we mentioned attitude there as well. Your next steps, what can we expect from Bronte in the future?
So I've just started my online coaching business. It's something that I've wanted to do for ages, to be fair, but I've sort of put it off a bit just because I've always tried to achieve what I can achieve in sport. But I'm kind of at the point now where I feel quite satisfied that I've achieved what I feel happy with, and I kind of think I don't want all that knowledge to go to waste, so why not now start building that into my own business and coaching others and let other people sort of take advantage of what I've learned and just see them achieve it, you know.
It's a confidence thing, I think, with coaching as well. Like you do it yourself for a certain period of time, then you all of a sudden think, actually, I've got quite a lot that I know about this now and I'd like to pass it on. And have you had any experiences like, I guess, coaching people like in like the weightlifting side of things, or have you had people come down, or young kids, or anyone you've kind of taken under your wing a little bit?
Yeah, no kids. I've got a few clients now, mainly people who just want to get stronger, or I've got a few who just don't really know how to start into the fitness journey, which it's great just to sort of teach them a lot about it, because it's not just the programming side. Like I do nutrition and mindset coaching as well, which the mindset side I really enjoy doing because it's kind of a big thing for me. But it's just great to just be able to, in the future, just see how they change as a person, how they achieve the goals, and you just get a lot of sort of pride in what you do from it, don't you?
Yeah. I saw on your Instagram and your bio it said, learn how to lift correctly, which I really like that. Like, that's, you know, because not enough, you know, people know that, and there's not enough people like selling that as like their niche. Is that where you want to go with this? Do you want to like really push the weightlifting side of things and teach people how to do the basics up to like, you know, the complex stuff like Olympic lifting?
Yeah, I do. I think like I know how to get people strong. I know it sounds daft, but like not just sugar muscles, like actually strong. You know what I mean?
Sugar muscles. There we go.
I've actually never heard that phrase as well. That's a brilliant.
It's a trademark, that, mate.
Sugar muscles.
Sugar muscles.
TM. Don't have sugar muscles.
That needs to be in the bio.
Yeah.
Anti-sugar muscle from you.
But you know what I mean? And I think I've spent so many years like on technique work with weightlifting and different lifts in the gym that I've kind of got that experience and sort of knowledge in knowing what people are doing right and wrong. And you know, just like little things when you see on videos what people put on Instagram and they think that they're doing well, and they are doing well, but you know, we just think, oh, if they just change that one little thing, they'd live so much better and, you know, prevent injuries and things. So
you've been tempted to like just drop a little message in there going,
turn your knees out a bit. Please.
Yeah.
I think you see it all the time when you go to even like commercial gyms and you just do some of your own stuff. You'll see the good, the bad, and the ugly in there. But that's the nice thing about coaching. Like, you get to take someone who would have made all those mistakes and probably did do in the past. Maybe you're going to get people who come to you, maybe been doing it a while, want to just tweak things and optimize it. And they're sometimes the best people because there's already a passion there as well. Like, they already want to do it. They already want to be better. They just want your expert advice. And it is really cool. Like, watching people progress is such a rewarding feeling, isn't it? And you know, I'm sure you've already had some of that so far. So
you mentioned there about like the developing competence, if you like teaching people how to lift correctly. There's a direct link usually with competence and confidence. So you being so technical and so, okay, let's just focus on this, they will build confidence from that. And as long as you don't get injured, you can live to fight another day. And have you got any advice for someone who's maybe struggling to get started and they think, oh, I'd love to do what Bronte does, but where do I start? I
mean, in terms of like coaching wise, probably you know, give it a go. You've got nothing to lose, have you? And everyone's got something that they can bring to the table, no matter what it is. So I'd always just say, if you've got a goal, just do whatever you can to achieve it. I've always been someone who, you know, I'm quite like an ambitious person, and I just think if you've got a goal, achieve it, but then don't just stop there. You know, find another goal and do that, and just don't ever be satisfied. You know, you always want to work on yourself, don't you? You always want to be better. So anything that I probably haven't got loads of advice to give, to be fair, but you know, if you want to do something, then just do it.
Speaking of which, I know you said about like goals and targets there. I've been dying to ask about PBs. I really want to know. As soon as snatch, clean and jerk, what are your PBs at the minute?
So my snatch PB is 85 kilos.
That's mad. That hurts my head, that.
Clean and jerking competition is 98. So
wow.
Yeah, I've got English champs this weekend, so we'll see how that goes.
Where's that?
Birmingham.
You feeling good?
I'm feeling all right. I've not had the best prep this year, to be fair, because I've had a few injuries, been travelling and things, so it's not been ideal, but, you know, we're going to go and give it his best shot, so
have you recovered from the knee injury now? Is that kind of, is it still flare up, niggle, or are you kind of back to full fitness?
After that, I kind of, I injured my wrist, so
common though with like, you know, what you do, I guess.
Yeah, so it was just a bit of a pain for a while, because obviously a lot of it is wrists. So yeah, that's like the latest really what I was struggling with, but I'm back up to training properly now. Okay. So
cool, lovely stuff. No, that's absolutely amazing. How do you, if you're going to manifest this now, what does it feel like after this weekend when you stood on podium with that gold medal?
You start telling them you're going to win. Telling everyone you're going to win. Put it out there. Buy a fake gold medal, like a chocolate one, and have it around your neck all week.
Look in the mirror every day.
No, it does. It sounds amazing. I suppose you're new to the coaching world. Is there anything that you maybe want to ask me and Ryan? I appreciate this is going to go out there to future clients, but I remember doing it on a podcast once, and I were asking the questions to other coaches on there, and people weirdly messaged me saying, I thought it was really nice, like really endearing that you asked for advice. Have you got any questions for me and Ryan? Maybe anything we can point you in the right direction with? I
mean, I've probably got loads of questions, to be fair. So, you know, I might be here a while, but just like in terms of the whole getting my point out there and, you know, the sort of business side of it, I feel like I've got enough to be able to like work on people and get people stronger, but more the side of like sorting the, do you know, just like being able to promote myself a bit, because I'm not really that good at telling people. So what would you reckon with that? I
feel like Ryan's probably got a similar ethos, but we always imagine like audience of one. Like if you can talk to one person and just be like, is this going to really help that one person? Because it's never an audience of one. There's always more than one person watching, but the more direct you can talk to them, the better. And it does sound like you've got a really clear understanding of who you can best help. So it's talking in their language, you know, like for us talking to parents, we're aware that the kids are the most important people in the world for them. So I'll link that as much as I can to like, well, this is going to be better for your kids, going to be better for you. I think it's more that audience of one. I don't know if you can echo that, mate. If you've got any other things.
Absolutely. I think you're absolutely right. It is difficult sometimes, like bigging yourself up as well and saying like, because I guess clients buy into you. That's why they're going to sign up with you, because they like what you do. There's you know, it is I guess you could, to a certain degree, there's loads of coaches out there, right? How are you going to be different? I think you're going to be different by being unique, being yourself, and showing people, you know, that not only are you kind of qualified in what you're doing, you've been doing it for a long time, your accolades obviously speak for themselves, but you're a person that is kind of compassionate as well. Like coaches don't always show that online. I think there's a lot of a hard-nosed approach nowadays where, you know, clients are just normal people. They're not athletes. They want to see that compassion. They want to see you being, just open to the fact that it's not really linear. Like, probably more so what we do, because we, you know, my job really is getting people in great nick. Yeah, we want to perform well, but we want to get them looking good. And you're changing habits of a lifetime. You know, you're changing someone's kind of complete eating, sleeping, moving, training schedule, and it's not always going to go to plan. You have to sometimes go around the ringer a little bit with them and actually, you know, work on other things that they probably didn't even know that needed improving. But I think showing all that on like social media is very difficult, isn't it? There's so much out there, but in a weird way there is a lot to talk about. Like, you know, just I think, especially with kind of obtaining clients, just put out as much information as you can. Some of it's going to be educational, some of it's going to be yourself, some of it's going to be playing into the algorithm a little bit, unfortunately, as well. You know, there's a lot of that going on, but I think over everything, just be yourself. Honestly, that will always stand you in good stead, for sure.
And yourself is a very impressive character, so that shouldn't be hard. I feel like you'll be all right. I feel like you'll be all right. Have you got any final sort of questions for Bronte, mate?
I guess just like your like circle around you right now. Like, what are they like? Are they, you know, have you kind of whittled that down to people who are kind of like you, into weightlifting, into kind of, you know, the things you like, or have you, you know, are you still quite broad in terms of your circle?
In terms of friends? Or?
Yeah, like friends and like, people you hang out with, stuff like that,
Yeah, I think I always surround myself with positive people. And I think it's always important to sort of be surrounding yourself with them people who are going to like support you and push one another and drive you to do better. I have a great support network, to be fair. Like, I don't have loads of friends anymore. I sort of have a few who we're just really close and we just want to push each other, support each other as best. My family's great. My family's always supportive of anything that I do, which is just amazing. Like, they always want to spend time with me and will do anything for me. So yeah.
Do you train with like your family, like your dad? Do you have sessions with him?
Not so much anymore, to be honest, just because a lot of what I do is like specific weightlifting based, and like my friends and family don't do like snatch or anything. They'll just go to the gym.
Even the gym though, like you meet like your community there, don't you? So where do you train now?
I train at Firehouse still.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah. Brilliant. Is that the one in Halfway?
Yeah. It's perfect for me because it's close by and there's like lifting platforms and everything. Everything that I need, really.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a good setup. No, Bronte, unless there's anything else from you, just want to thank you for your time and appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, it's been awesome to get to know you, like you know, the Gladiator herself. Like, you know, who knows? You might be on the other end of the kind of.
But you never know.
You never know. I keep manifesting it. It'll come for sure.
It's thunder. I can hear it now. I can see you walking down.
No.
She's dreamt about this.
We've seen it. What would the pose be? That's what I need to know.
Oh, not thought about that.
I'm thinking like some sort of Zeus. Could be.
I feel like on the YouTube thumbnail we need to put that Bronte as a gladiator, like in an outfit now. Maybe the opening theme music could be that.
Possibly.
Honestly, thank you so much for today. It's really good to get to know you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. So, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. See you on the next one.
See you soon.